Okay, Shirley, my name is Alfred Harris, and I'm, of course, your cousin. And I'm interviewing you today, October 20th, 2020, as part of the Boles Family Legacy Collection, where I interview family members for their uh, thoughts and memories and their life, uh, and any information that you can share with me and that I can share with other family members in the future. Hopefully this will be passed down for generations. So
Okay.
can you tell me what your full name is, please?
Shirley Ann Boles Lewis. Okay.
Is there anything special or unusual? Do you know how you got your Shirley Ann as your?
Well, they told me that Uncle Sam called me Shirley Tamora.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yes, that's what Grandma told me.
Is that right? Well, that's great. That's
You
great to
know,
know.
I never knew Uncle Sam. When I was born, they called me Shirley Tamora. So in later years, I became Shirley Ann. I don't know how that came about.
Oh, when and where were you born?
I was born in Center Point, down under the hill, over at, you know where the Winnie Patch is over there?
Yes.
That's where I was born. There was a house over there.
And what year and date was that?
That was December the 11th, 1936.
1936. So that makes you 84, 85?
No, 83.
83.
Yeah,
Okay.
you putting me up, boy.
Oh, I never did do well in math.
Oh, okay.
Do you, your sisters and brothers, can you tell me who they are?
My sister is deceased. Her name is Irma Jean Wynn. And she's deceased. My brother, Ernest Boles. No, Ernest Leon Boles. Now, that's all I know. And he's, I don't know how old. I think Ernest was born in 43, I believe. He's 81, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. And what were your parents' name and when and where were they born?
Kelsey and Audie Bullock Bowles, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were born in Center Point too, around in the same community. They all came up from the same community as far as I know, okay?
I see. Your grandparents on your father's side.
Lula and Thomas Bowles.
And on your mother?
And on my mother's side was Mattie Bullock. I didn't know her husband, but I think it was a John Bullock.
John
was her husband.
Yes.
But he died long years ago.
John.
I see.
John and Mattie Bullock.
Now, is there anything that you can tell me about your grandparents?
Which one?
Well, let's start with Thomas and Lula.
They were super because that was my bread and butter right there. They brought me up and spanked me when they needed to.
So you were basically raised right there with them?
Yes.
And how far back can you go in memory of those days?
You know what? I'm gonna go back to maybe when I was about 6, because I did something I wasn't supposed to do. I remember that very well. You know, we lived over there in the Winnie Patch, okay? And I walked from that house up to the old house because I wanted to go up there where everybody else was, Quill and all of them. And I think I got a tan behind that. But that's about as far as I can go. And I can't really remember why I did that, but I know I did it. I wasn't supposed to walk, and I was just a little thing then.
So the Winnie Patch is not that far from the old log house area,
No,
which
no,
is,
right across the field there, like.
do you recall any other families staying in that area at the time of your childhood?
You mean our family?
Any families in?
Well, the Dewey and what Dewey and Dewey family, the Weston, Dewey Weston and that family, they stayed down the way because we used to ride to school with him.
Let's see.
You remember
Dewey,
Dewey Weston?
well, I never met him. Dewey and
But you
Dewey
heard
and
of it.
yes, Uncle Sam's son.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Dewey, now this would have been in the early 40s, so I
It had
suppose.
it was in the early 40s because Ernest, I think I was about second grade or something like that. And Ernest was about the first grade. He had just started school.
I see. So Dewey, was Uncle Sam still living at the time, or did you
No, I never knew Uncle Sam.
never met Uncle Sam?
I never met him.
Any other families close by that you recall?
There was a white family down the way, and I think they were Shankers or something. I can't remember exactly, but there was a white family that lived behind, on down there behind us.
Well,
And
so
then there, go ahead. Then there was Dewey and his family lived there up there, but they moved soon. They didn't stay there very long.
they moved in the 40s also.
Yeah.
Was there anybody left down there beside?
Beside us?
Yes.
No.
Now,
No.
your mother passed away at what year?
I don't remember the year, but I was
six.
I was about 6 years old.
6 years old.
I don't remember the exact year and date.
I see. So you basically you all moved closer to grandmother, or moved with grandmother, or
We moved in with grandma.
is that right? Can you recall where you stayed in that log home? What
You know,
room?
for a while we stayed down there where I said the Winnie Patch was. In
Mhm.
that house, there was a house over there. We stayed there. And then later years, we moved on into the big house with grandma and grandpa.
Well, how big was the big house was that extension on there when you was a child?
Yes, there was. Well, they added on to it. There was let me try and see how this house was made now. There was this great big room, and it was the log room. I mean, it was made out of logs. There was a kitchen, and then there was a hallway, big hallway, and there was 2 rooms on the other side of the hall.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the hallway, there was a room. So that's basically how we lived.
So just that's the log house that I remember as a child.
That's the one yeah. We all remember that house, right?
Yes. What activities? Now you mentioned going to school as a child. Where did you go to school?
Went to Center Point School. And at that time, Cleola was my teacher. She's my first grade teacher.
And Center Point School was where?
Right there. Well, let's see. How can I describe this? You know where when you come over the hill there by the cemetery?
Yes.
It was right on the if you're going south, it was on the left. Okay.
So that was a red brick building.
That was a brick building that burned.
Okay.
It burned early years, and then after that, we moved to to the church and had school in the church because Phil was taught in that.
I see.
And she and I roomed with Miss Tice, the preacher of the church. Now I don't know why, but that's where we stayed.
Closer to school, so you didn't have
Closer to school, yes.
I see. So, but there was a period where you traveled back and forth.
Yeah, there was a period that we traveled back and forth, but the weather got bad, and the winter, and then we moved had a room over there in the parsonage. That's what they call it.
Did Thomas or Uncle Kelsey or anyone have a vehicle at that time?
No, because we rode the wagon, boy. We went to school on the horse, and we rode the wagon back and forth, okay?
Rode the green wagon.
Yeah.
That I remember as a kid.
A green wagon. It wasn't green at that time, but it was a wagon.
Well, it's I can't tell you how interesting this is, because some of the things that were there when I was a kid, I had no idea how folks got back and forth.
Yeah.
But that's you all rode a wagon.
Yeah, that was the way. And if we wanted to go to church, that's the way we went to church too. Until Daddy came to Little Rock and bought an old car. And then we had an old car to go back and forth in.
Is that right?
I don't know why he had to come to Little Rock to get one, but he came up here and came back with a car.
Do you have fond memories of those days of?
I do. They might have not seemed like fun then, but they were fond memories, Now, as you think back over it, I wouldn't have had no better things. I wish my kids could have had some of that. In fact, I tried to carry them down and introduce them to it, but they didn't want it.
Didn't take.
No, it didn't take.
Well, let's talk about Lula Boles. What activities and influence did she have on you as a child?
Well, Grandma taught me how to cook, how to can, how to wash, how to clean, how to keep house, or whatever, okay? How to raise a garden. And those things stayed with me for a long time after I even got married and got to Little Rock.
Those were just normal activities that went on.
Normal activities. That was the kinds of things that we did.
Were you cooking on a wood stove or?
We were cooking on a wood stove for a while, and then later on, Louis, I think, bought this. How can I say? What kind of stove was that? Well, they bought this big stove and then we cooked on it, but it wasn't. It was gas, I guess.
That's
butane or something.
And well, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Louis was down there at the time you were a child too.
Yes, we were all there. Louis, Uncle Grady, Daddy, all of us were in the house together.
Is that right?
Right.
That was a family affair then.
It was a big family affair, and especially when you had to wash for all them jokers.
And how did you wash?
How did I wash?
How
the rub board. At first, I had the rub board and 3 tubs. We had 2 rinses and 1 wash. And we had to do that all the time because we had to have clean. I mean, the clothes had to be clean. They wanted them snow white, and they were. So
did you use a wash pot?
We had this great. Wait a minute, I ain't got that for yet. We had this great big old wash pot that was big enough to put me and you both in it. that we had to boil them clothes after. You wash them, then you put them in the pot, boil them. Take them out, rinse them 3 times, and hang them up. But this pot, I don't know what happened to that pot. Louis had it last time I saw it. But somebody got it, I think, stole it. It was a great big pot. I've never seen another one like it.
I remember that as a kid.
You remember that pot?
Yeah, actually, it's still there. It may still be at Lewis's. It fractured.
No.
It broke, and
It
they
did
had
break?
it. They had it in the shed out back
Okay.
for a long
It did
time.
break.
Yes, it fractured pretty bad,
Oh.
unrepairable. So that was that the water that you washed your clothes with came out of the well.
It
So
came out of the well. We had to draw that water, and we didn't have no wagon or nothing to carry around there, but maybe our little wagon we played in. So we had to carry this water all the way from the well to the wash. And you know about how back there to that pot, big pot in the wash, there was a bench we used to wash with on.
Mm-hmm.
You know about how big that was, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now that was a hard time. Then that's the only thing I didn't like about that. But otherwise, it was just like every day. And on Saturday was my day of washing. And I had all them blue jeans, all them overalls, all them shirts, all them big clothes to wash.
That was the woman's work. The women did.
Right.
Did you ever? Do you ever recall with grandmother washing clothes in Beach Creek?
I do remember that, especially when the well got low, and it would do that in the summer. We would set up a pot down at on Beach Creek and boil clothes and wash them and carry them back and hang them out. That was some hard work.
Every day was
I don't know how it was, but instead of me going out there playing with the guys or going with the boys, I was watching.
Every day was a routine of something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Didn't have time for nothing else.
And that's following grandmother's example.
That's right. That's right. And I wasn't allowed to have no company or nothing. So that's all I had to do. Cinderella. Wasn't allowed to have, and I guess that's why I came on out of there and went on to Pine Bluff School so I could meet some guys.
So let before you leave home, before you leave home, did you participate in hog killings and?
Oh, don't mention that, boy. We had these huge hog killings. I mean, it wasn't no 1 or 2 hogs, maybe 3. That smokehouse would be full of meat, okay? And you know what? After that, meat lasted all year long, until the next season. I don't know how it did, but it didn't run. It didn't mess up. It might have got a little tangy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it did. We had to take the fat off of and cut it up to make lard. Okay. We had to clean the chitlins because I couldn't stand them things. They stink so bad. But grandma had to have her chitlins, okay? and she wanted the fat off of the guts. Don't leave that fat on them guts, okay? We did that. I mean, I did, put it this way. Irma didn't have nothing to do with that, not Ernest. I did that. Well, Grandma would help me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
She would have worked right along with me, you know, even though she was blind. I don't know how she did it, but she did.
Well, now, you remember her before she went blind.
Yes, I do.
And when did she start losing her sight? Or
I don't
haven't?
know what year it was, but I remember it was in the summer, and we were canning peaches, and she got where she couldn't see. So she came up here. She went about with some doctor up here, and he said she had cataracts,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to go ahead and remove them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't, you know, you have to do that a certain time. They weren't ready to be moved because they wasn't whatever they call ripe. Now I can't say what that was, okay, at that time. But they weren't ready to be moved. And she never did get her sight back. She could see a little bit, but she couldn't. After they did the surgery on my eyes, she couldn't see nothing. And now she cried. I can remember her just crying and crying and crying. You know, she was real sad about that.
Mm-hmm. I can recall I was born in '49, and I was told she lost her sight in '49.
Okay.
Maybe permanently. I'm sure there was a period of time over a period of time. But
Yeah.
so you went to school uh, all the way to Center Point from under the hill, and
Right.
there was a period when you stayed close to school with Uncle Leola.
Yes. Cross
And,
the cross the uh, across the road from the church in the church. We stayed across the school was on the other side of the street,
I see.
the highway.
Did you attend church in Center Point?
Yes.
At the
I don't remember what year I joined, but I joined the Methodist Church. Well, I was a pretty good sized kid then.
mm-hmm.
Was baptized in the creek down there behind the church. I can remember that in the summertime.
I see.
I don't remember what year.
The Do you recall any other churches down under the hill or around the top of the hill
No,
coming up?
wasn't no churches under the hill, but there was some up there around our church, Andy Steenham's church. At that time, they called it the Camelite Church, but it was the Church of Christ.
I see. I see.
And there were some white churches up there, but no.
Okay. So, did you? Would you say your childhood was challenging or easy, fun?
I can't say it was easy, but it was sort of challenging, I guess. I mean, you know, you adapt to it, Alfred, and that was a way of life, and you just went that way, okay?
Yes, that was at the time. That's all you knew.
Yeah, that was it.
And one of the things that I find amazing, and I'm going to
Yeah.
just interject this, is that they live that life basically most of their lives. The
Right.
grandpa and grandmother and our aunts and uncles,
And
and never
that was a
thought
good
much of
life. Yeah, it was a
it.
good life for them. Yeah.
Right, right. Now, Thomas, Grandpa Thomas Boles, you have any recollections of him and how he handled things from day to day?
He worked hard. That's all I know. Every day he went to the field except Sunday. He did not go on Sundays.
Didn't go on
And
Sunday.
and then he took a little spell of they'd have to go hunting, deer hunting, and all that stuff. He would go up. He went with somebody up at Dirks. I don't know who that was, and did his deer hunting and stuff. they take time out for that. But otherwise, other than that, he was working. If they wasn't working in the field, they was around there cutting wood for the winter, or cutting logs or something to sell. Okay.
Mhm. And Uncle Kelsey, in those days, was he in the logging or what did?
He was. He did more what you call pulpwood, which is, I don't know, pulpwood is made with little shorter and smaller pine trees, and he was doing pulpwood.
That's
But they all did the logging at one time. But there was a lot of trees back in them days.
Right.
And that was
So,
a way of making money.
so did you graduate? Where did you graduate from high school?
In Nashville.
So that at some period you went from Centerpoint to going to school in Nashville.
Well, see, our school only went to the 8th grade in Centerpoint. And after that, we graduated from the 8th grade and went on down to Nashville to the high school. And
how did you get from Centerpoint to Nashville on a daily
by
basis?
bus. By bus.
They had a bus to come pick you up.
Yeah, bus came got us.
So that was getting up early and coming home a little late.
Right.
I see.
So, and then sometime we'd miss the bus because I can't say why, but Daddy wouldn't get us there in time, but he'd cast on the school. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Where did the bus where did you have to catch the bus, if you recall?
Right there in front of the old school.
Okay, so you had to go all the way to Centerpoint to catch the bus.
Yes.
So that was a long morning, wasn't it?
Yes, we left home. Hey, you get up at 5 o'clock, getting ready to go get the bus.
I see.
Yeah.
Now,
that took a long time.
Before we move on, did you ride horses and?
We didn't we missed that part. We rode horses to school. Daddy would have the horse there when we got out of school. We ride him back home. That was before he got the car. Okay.
I see.
And then after the old car wasn't running, we'd get the horse and jump on the back of him and go on to school. Now, I bet I would get on one now.
What about the wagon? Did you operate the wagon?
Did I operate the wagon?
Did you hitch the mules or horses to the wagon?
No, I didn't do that part, but Daddy did. But we had the wagon to go to church in, the wagon to go to school in. So we mostly used that for going to church.
I see. So you went to school in high school in Nashville.
Children's High School in Nashville.
And what year did you graduate?
I graduated in 54, I believe it was.
1954.
Yeah, 54.
And then the next step was next step after high school was what?
I came on up to Little Rock, worked a little while, and then I went to A&M College for a year.
A&M.
Mm-hmm.
And once you left A&M,
I didn't go back anymore because I got. They say I got fast. Well, I got married. I married Bill.
Okay.
And then Cynthia came, and Sylvia came, Marcia came, so I didn't go back to school anymore.
So your husband's name was
Bill Lewis.
Bill Lewis, and you all were married in
58, I believe it was. November the 4th,
29th.
no, 29th, yeah. 29th, yeah. 29th.
And then you all had
I had 4 girls.
4 girls. And would you mind naming them for us?
Well, Cynthia K, that's the oldest. Sylvia Yvonne, but do you need the last name?
Uh, no, they're Lewis's.
Yeah.
Right.
Then Marcia Kane, and then Carol. Carol was the little one.
Marcia's middle name is.
Oh, that's right. I forgot she does have Marcia Yvonne. What is it? Bernard's Marcia. That's it. Heck, I don't forget.
Marcia is my middle name.
Marcia is her middle name.
Well,
Bernard's Marcia Lewis.
is that right? And then Carol.
Carol Lynette Lewis.
So you've got 4 daughters.
Yes.
Who are adults now, and then how many grandchildren?
Oh Lord, I guess about 18.
And
It's about 18.
And roughly how many any great grandchildren?
Great grandchildren?
Just great grands.
3.
About 4.
About 4. So you
5. About 5, I think.
so you and Bill settled in Little Rock
Yes.
at the location that you're in now?
Huh?
At the location at your home that you're in
Where
now?
I'm staying now, where we living here? No. We
Where-
live down the street. We had several places. Down the street here at 400 First. We moved from 28th and Gaines over here at 400 West 31st. And after that house, what happened to that house? I don't know. Looked like then I moved to 402 West 31st. It was just a little bigger house.
Mhm.
And from there I moved here at 420.
And 420 is the house that I know.
Yeah, that's where we live. Somehow or another, Bill's friend had this house and he was gonna sell it. So we bought it and we've been here ever since.
And you also are a member of what church?
Liberty Hill Missionary Baptist Church on 12th and Show.
And you've
I've
been a member.
for I guess ever since about in the 50s, early 50s, I guess. Can't remember exactly when.
So that's your home church.
That's my home church.
I see.
See, when we were down home, we were all Methodists, but when I came to Little Rock, I became Baptist.
I see. So and Bill passed away at what year?
In 2004.
2004. Now I remember. I know you're an excellent cook, but I remember it seems like that you worked at the Rocket, or
Well, yes, they called it the Rocket, but it was really Oppenheimer's.
worked at Eisenhower's.
It was a factory that we worked at. We made shirts and dresses.
But you had those skills in the Center Point also. Am I right?
You have to do that. Yeah.
And that just worked into.
So that was something that was about the best paying job in Little Rock for a Black woman, and I applied and got. You know, you had to apply for stuff.
Yes.
In order to get a job. So I applied and I got it. And I stayed there for 23 years. And after that, I came home and raised grandchildren, okay?
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
about it.
Well, they got to eat your excellent cooking.
Well, they did. And some of them can cook pretty good now.
Is
So I'm
there?
working on the grandchildren. So the boys can cook pretty good. Russell's an excellent cook,
Well, that's great. That's great.
even though he's blind. He's good. Ain't he, Marcy?
Well, what are some of your fondest memories of Centerpoint?
Well, let's see. Maybe picking peaches, and that was fun at that time because that's how we made our little money. The little change, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now I didn't care nothing about no corn, chopping cotton and picking cotton. But the peaches was a lot of fun to me because you had a chance to meet a lot of people, you know, and socialize with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't too much socializing down in there, okay?
The sun went down, and you didn't enjoy television down there very much, did you?
No, but we did have one. But Grandpa wouldn't let you look at it much. But after Lewis grew up, he went to work at Dirk's Mill and bought this TV. And that's where we had a TV.
Is that right?
And you couldn't see a lot of stuff on it because going to turn that thing off. So he'd have you turning it off. But that was the entertainment. And then you got this radio station. What was it? From out of Shreveport. I can't remember.
That would have been WLAC out of Nashville.
Yeah.
John R.
Yeah.
At night.
Yeah, I would listen to that at night now. And you couldn't hear a lot of it because they turn that off.
Right.
So that was pretty strict. It was sort of strict down there for me, I'll have to admit.
Did you hunt any or trap or do anything like that?
Did I hunt? No.
Yes. You never
No, I didn't do no shooting. Didn't have time. I was either in the kitchen or either cooking or either cleaning or either washing.
And what about raising chickens and killing chickens?
Oh, the chickens, yeah. Oh gosh, boy, them chickens. I just couldn't wring those chickens in head off. I take the axe and cut it off, and then I would be crazy for a while before I got it cut off. But that was the hardest job right there, trying to kill a chicken.
I recall a period as a kid, ducks and guineas and walking around. Everything.
Yeah,
walked.
we did have some ducks and some guineas and what are those geese? We had a lot of geese.
A lot of geese.
And big old white geese.
That's what I meant. The big geese.
Yeah. They had great big eggs, and those were rich eggs. I can remember Grandma saying those was the richest eggs. So, but somehow I don't know how we used them then, but we used them.
And how about canning and?
The canning, I did a lot of that, and making jelly and preserves and pickle and relish. Just a lot of that stuff. There was a little house in the back, and they called it the fruit house, and it was full. We canned peaches, canned apples, canned meat. When they kill hogs, we would cook the meat and can it too.
Mhm.
Canned everything. Sometimes it would spoil, sometimes it would. And you don't know what you did wrong. But you didn't lose a lot of the meat, but you lose some, you know. So you have to be careful.
The experiences of Centerpoint, is is there anything that stands out in your mind as as
Yeah, hauling that water from the well to what to back to the wash clothes with. Now, that's one of the things. But the other things is walking up that red hill to church on Sunday. And what we did after, we would wear the old shoes and have your towel to clean your feet. And when we get up to where these things stay,
yes, ma'am.
we would wash our feet, wipe our feet off, and put our Sunday shoes on and go on to church. And that stands out in my mind real good. I don't ever want to go do that no more. And when we came back, we'd pick our old shoes up, take them Sunday shoes off, and save them, because you didn't get them often.
Mm-hmm.
You had to save them.
Now, was grandmother with you then? I mean, was grandmother making that walk too?
She, for a while, she did until she got what she could.
I see.
And then by that time, Daddy had gotten an old piece of car that he carried us to church. We didn't have to walk no more.
Now, was it?
Me and Ernest Durham.
Would you say that again?
I said, she want to know who. I said, me and Ernest and Irma.
So you all were pretty close growing up and staying pretty close.
Yes.
And
yes.
Did you require any discipline?
Yes, we did.
As an older sister, did you do any discipline?
No, I didn't. But every now and then we got that brush broom whooping. You know what a brush broom was back in those days?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Homemade broom?
The homemade broom. She'd get us with the brush broom. And I can't say for what reason we got it, but we got it.
Yeah.
Now, see, Ernest didn't get as many whoopings as I did because I was the oldest one. Irma, she didn't get none hard at all. So she was always in the swing reading a book or something. that old swing that's down there on that porch now, that's the one she'd be in.
Is that right? He was the baby come up.
She didn't get no whooping.
Yeah.
And Ernest was always out with Grandpa hunting or fishing or something. So I was left to get the other part.
So I saw a picture here that y'all took. I'm not sure, it was the last couple of years down there.
The little black picture?
No, it was a picture with you, Ernest, and Irma, and Carl. Did you, when you're down there, do you have fond memories of that?
Yes, I do. We had a lot of fun. What is it?
I'll show it to you later.
Now, it was always fun when Ernestine and Maggie and Sonny would come visit because we'd all sit down and play ball and we'd have fun doing stuff. And they didn't come every week, just every now and then.
I see. They were living
up there where the old house is now.
I see. And Minnie and Victoria, they were gone in the early 40s. I suppose, mid-40s.
Yeah, I don't remember when they left, but I know they were gone. They were in Phoenix.
Mm.
Yeah. They lived in Phoenix for a long while.
Let's see. Well now, I got so many questions, but let me ask you, what would you like to pass on in this to your family of
To my children, these
your
girls.
children, and your children's children, and any other family members? What would you like to
You know,
pass on?
Alfred, I tried to pass on down Center Point to them, but that didn't work. But I wanted them to sort of know what it's like to be in the country and live in the country and do things in the country. But that didn't work at all, okay? they couldn't stand it. They couldn't stand the bugs. They couldn't stand the flies. And the pigs, oh heck, they couldn't stand the pigs. Let that pig come up on the steps and think he's coming in. I don't know who hollered the worst, Marcia or Carol. Let's see if all of them hollered.
Yeah.
I was a nervous wreck one time. I went down there and came back up. I thought I was going to have a fit. But they cried the whole while. I said, I ain't going back.
Well, I
I
tell
wish
you,
they could have gotten some of the things that I got when I was coming up down there, okay? Not that they needed it, but sort of help them to appreciate things better. At least Carol and some of them, Sylvia. Sylvia hated it down there.
well, I got a real good opportunity to spend a lot of time down there, and I can tell you it's a special place. And I believe
It is.
I believe that the realization, it may take a while. It may have taken a while, but I think in what Marcia and others are doing, it goes full circle, and it may take it's taken a little bit, but I think that they may not see all of that hard work and all that water from the well, but just being on the land and
Yeah.
and sitting down there in quiet peace, because that's
peace.
one thing down there. You don't have no noise, and the air is clean.
Right.
And
And you don't hear no cars, no nothing.
no, if you see an airplane, it's it's something to look up at. Then,
Right.
but that's sometimes things come late, but they come. And
Yeah.
I tell you, when you look at how hard our folks had to work and what they had to endure,
Right.
and
But it
survive,
wasn't hard to them.
it wasn't hard, and
No.
they worked you to death because
Yeah.
they didn't know.
You were worked to death, but it wasn't hard to them.
It wasn't hard to them, and but they if you wasn't cut out for it, if you wasn't part of it, you sure didn't want to spend a whole lot of time doing that hard work.
No, you did.
But it was a very special place, and I treasure my memories. And that's one
Yes,
of the reasons that I'm talking to you and anybody else from down there who've been down there, because there's a lot that I didn't know. Let me ask you this: can you recall?
killing hogs and all that.
No, I'm trying to figure. There was a period when the log house was moved out of, and it seemed to have coincided with Lewis getting married and leaving from down there, and maybe the house needed repairs, and they moved the house down. Do you recall?
I don't really recall because I wasn't there then. That was during the time I was up here having babies, I guess. But anyway, it was about the same time Lewis and Luella got married, and they I don't know where Grandpa and them got that house from, but they had it moved there. The one that's rotting down now.
The greenhouse.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from, but they moved it there.
Mhm.
And
And
that was about the time Lewis and Llewellyn married.
mhm. And then later in the, I guess in the late 60s or around 60, somewhere in the 60s, they moved from down there
To Centerpoint.
Singapore
Yeah,
to be closer to town.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because Grandma was getting more feeble, and Grandpa, he was getting bedridden. So
Mhm.
I guess that was the reason for Phil to move them there. They bought that house that they said Lou Halla used to have. You know that black lady that used to be down Centerpoint? That had the
Well,
little gas station there and the candy, you bought candy and stuff from.
oh, Aunt Lou,
Yeah,
that was her house?
that's what they told me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I think she got the house from the Callahan folks, because see, they really worshipped her,
Mm.
and they gave her that house.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Mm. Well, I'm glad you hear that because the Callahans played a lot of roles in things. I'm really looking at that family.
yes,
Uh,
they did.
they played a lot of. Grandpa bought land from them, and
Yeah,
they seem to be pretty close to the Boles family.
they
Uh,
did, and I got some receipts back there now where Grandpa bought land for $10 from some Callahan. I got a
mhm.
box of stuff under the bed back there.
Mhm.
I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah, that's those are things to treasure. Those are things to
Right.
treasure.
Right.
Well,
I don't know why they were so close together, but I guess they just hunted together and just like everybody was there. Wasn't no black folk down there then. You know,
mhm.
everybody was about the same, right?
I guess it seemed that way. If
It seems to me, yeah.
Grandpa he had a lot of visitors who were white and a lot of them that were black,
Right.
and a lot of people. Now, this is one question I want to ask also because I think many mentioned this. That anybody stop by, Grandpa or Grandmother would offer them something to eat.
Right. Black, white. Okay, and don't. And Grandpa said, "Come on in, man. Get you some breakfast, some supper, some lunch." And they would eat. They would come on in and eat.
That was pretty commonplace.
Right.
And do you ever recall a period when there wasn't enough food? Wasn't any
No.
got
Yeah.
hungry?
No, I don't. I mean, there was always something. Okay. Might have
Mm-hmm.
not been a whole lot, but there was always something.
Mm-hmm.
And like Grandpa's favorite food was, as long as he could have some, what you call it, that side meat. You know that you know what I'm talking about, Alpha?
Oh yeah, a little bacon or
Yeah, wasn't bacon at that time, but it was side meat
yes, but
and some gravy, thick gravy, and some biscuits somewhere you can stop, and some of them black molasses. I can remember that well.
he drank that strong coffee.
And drink that strong coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
Lou. And he didn't ask me, he holler, Lou, where's so and so and so and so and so. Grandma couldn't get up and get it, I had to get it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I learned a lot.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and share your memories. Um, and your face is really full. You really look well.
You think so?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Look like Shirley.
Okay.
And
I'll be 85 pretty soon, one more said.
I thought 84.
Oh yeah, I'll be 85. I'm putting my age up. I'll be 84 in December.
Well, I want to congratulate you and Bill on raising 4 beautiful daughters. And
Well, thank you. I think they're pretty wonderful myself.
well,
I just think Bill wasn't around to see the whole shebang.
yeah, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. But you all have got a beautiful family. And Marcia, thank you so much for taking the time. And I
You're welcome.
and I
Did you get an answer from Vanita?
oh
in
yeah,
her email?
we had a beautiful conversation, and I really want to make sure that nobody took that negative, because we all have the same interests, and I know what portion we're responsible for. It's up to us, my family, to catch up and get the things needed so we can participate. But
Mm-hmm.
I know Jerry and I've been talking for several years now about getting a tractor and trying to put it down there so property can be maintained.
Yeah.
And those are the things that are interest me. I was very disappointed. Let me stop the recording. Here, let me finish this and then we'll talk.
Okay.
Thank you again, Shirley. I'm gonna stop the recording right now.
Okay. Thanks, Alfred. It's good talking to you, and give my love to there, okay?
Okay, I certainly will.